picking up all the sounds.
Are you?
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon. Good morning, folks. Good morning. Good morning to you all. Listeners, welcome to the Message Talk Show. Today we have a very special guest flying in all the way from London. Well, she probably hasn't flown this morning, but flying all the way from London is Uzo Ijewere. Uzo, just say hi.
Hello, everybody. Lovely to be here. Thank you for having me, Alex.
Hey, that's great. That's great. I remember the very first time I heard you speak. And I thought, amazing! This lady was an amazing speaker. And every time I heard you speak since then, I'm thinking, wow, she's full with such passion, such energy. I just thought, man, this lady's going to go places, man. But hey, so it's been a while since we've sat down face to face.
It has, yes. I've missed our monthly or bi-monthly catch-ups. I don't know how often we see each other now because we're so busy. But yeah, this guy is amazing. We have some really, really deep conversations, don't we?
Hey, okay, you don't have to go there right now. Don't go there just yet, right? Let's just start the show today, okay? So, Uzo, tell us about yourself, Uzo. Tell us about who you are. Who are you? And give us a bit of backstory about you.
Oh, I really find this one of the hardest things to speak about. I find it very difficult.
About yourself? You find it hard to speak about yourself?
I do. I really do. I don't know. It's that introvert part of me. People that meet me never believe that I'm an introvert, but I am. And it's really hard for me to speak about myself.
I would never believe that.
Yeah, I am. I enjoy what I do. So that comes out. Well, in a nutshell, what am I? I am, I'm seeking to be anyway, a change maker. And where I see myself as being a facilitator for change is in the human psyche. And really helping people to achieve more success by doing things differently. And I think we all kind of feed into the thing that we want to change about ourselves. I want to improve. I want to get better. I want to grow. And so I want to help people do the same thing, whether that's in large organizations where I'm hired to come in and work on talent strategy, or in small businesses, solopreneurships, where I'm working on the individual and helping them to shift their mindset, helping them to stop some behaviors that are holding them back, helping them to bust out of their limiting beliefs and move into a higher understanding of exactly who they are and what they can achieve, and then go out and do that. So that's me in a nutshell today. I have a long backstory. I'm older than I know.
But okay, you told us some of what you do and what you do when you go for companies, but who are you? Who are you, Uzo?
Okay, break that question down. As I said, this is difficult for me. Ask me a specific question.
Okay, when I say who are you? Yeah. What is it? Who are you becoming? From where you came from 10, 15 years ago, where do you see yourself? Where's that person that's that hunger, the person that has this hunger for life, the hunger for helping people? Who is that person?
It's a person, it's a woman who has gone through a journey. Yes, a woman who's gone through a journey from a shy, quiet, sheltered girl to a bold, brassy, people call it aggressive, I call it assertive woman who is just wanting to live a simple but meaningful life. I think where I am now is about purpose. And I really tapped into that aspect of myself. I spent the first half of my working career, my life, thinking that I wanted to work in investment banking. I got my first job in the industry at 22, having finished 3 degrees. So I have a degree in economics, a degree in management, and a degree in investments and securities. And I'd done all that by the time I was 22. But I grew up with older banker brothers. My father is an engineer. So it was very much, I want to go into industry. I want to do something. Yeah. And I got there and I hated it.
Wow.
I really hated it because it was at such cross purpose with my personality. But I'm African origin and I properly grew up in Africa. I'm not one of those Africans that don't know about Africa. I'm a Nigerian. And
okay, you said so.
Yep, I lived in school in Nigeria till I was 16. Then I came over here for boarding school, and I never left. I had, if people know what Africans are like, especially Nigerians, high achievers. When you're born into a certain demographic, you're lucky enough to have that opportunity. It's about excelling at schoolwork. It's about academics, and there's no real space for self. We're not teaching our kids to be self-reflective. We're teaching them to achieve, right? And so I was achieving, but feeling dead inside.
You're pushed very hard.
Yes, no, we're pushed hard. We are pushed hard. But then you get to, for me at least, I got to about 33. And I realized I don't resonate with any of the stuff I do. None of it. And it all started with a journey. A friend of mine called Zainab, she might not even remember this. She said to me, Uzo, you would be an amazing coach. And I said to her, what's a coach? And she goes, you've never heard of coaching? And I go, no. And she's like, you should go read it. You are, you're so inspirational. You're empowering. You're always teaching and you're helping people and you're always pushing people to achieve more. And, you know a lot about a lot of things because, I consider myself a generalist. So I've worked in financial services. I've worked in soft commodities with, sugar, rice, those types of soft commodities, sesame seed, all that stuff, trading that at bank level. So in corporate level, I've worked in oil and gas. So I consider myself to be a bit of a generalist, and I've worked in different functions in all of those industries. So I've worked in private wealth management, but then I've also worked in risk management, operational risk management, project management, business development, communication, investor relations. So I know a little about a lot, but my little is quite deep.
Okay.
So she goes, you could help so many different people by, talking to them, working with them, coaching them. I'm like, And so that journey began, and it's been 10 years since I've been doing this. And I feel like I'm finally coming into my own power. And my task, my remit, my purpose is to try and help others to kind of find that power for themselves as well. On the other side of things, I'm a wife. I'm a mother of 2. I'm a daughter to 2 living parents and 2 parents-in-law. I've got lots of brothers and sisters. That's me.
So you have a lot of people to share your time with.
I do. But yeah, I like it though. I do.
So now I can see where the augment results come from now, because I was going to ask you, why do you do what you do? But I can actually see where, because of all the sectors you've worked in, and even though you said you didn't resonate with some of them, but they've left some trails in your heart.
Yes.
For using some of the techniques, for using some of what you've learned in those environments to then come and help small businesses and organizations. Am I correct?
You are correct, except for one little tiny difference. I didn't resonate with some of the people.
Right. Okay.
In industry. So, I was weaned on the movie Wall Street. So my brothers are way older than I am. My first brother is 11 years older than me. My second brother is 7 years older than me. And then there's me, and then my younger brother. So we had this, these influences that were kind of more advanced and very sophisticated in thinking. And so my younger brother and I grew up kind of being more mature in that respect in terms of who we hung out with. Were these old guys. So I grew up weaned on Wall Street. We would watch Wall Street as the Saturday afternoon movie in my parents' house. And so I wanted to be Gordon Gekko. And it was a shock to me that even though I aspired so much to that investment banking life, that it made me feel empty. I
Wow.
did not like the people that worked in that industry. And the realization was that I'm not really like that. I'm a people person.
But
I'm
when you
so
say but when you say you didn't like, was it just personality clashes more than anything else? Or
I think it was I think when I how do I put it so that it makes sense? It was the belief that you had to
okay.
behave in a certain way in those sectors, in those industries to get ahead.
Right, okay.
And I obviously wasn't able to do that without feeling uncomfortable. So it was very dog eat dog. It was very aggressive, abrasive, where it didn't need to be, right? And not everyone was like that. Of course, that's a gross generalization. But, on balance, it tended to be more aggressive than I was, comfortable with personally. And I know that that's entirely my own personality, but I think that's informed my work
Right.
now in addressing talent strategy and ensuring that, leaders take into account the different experiences, um, beliefs, temperaments of the people within the organization, because you can discard talent just like that. You can disengage talent just like that because you're trying to treat everyone the same.
So what you're
Um,
saying to me then, what you're saying to me, augmenting results is not just about the performance in the balance sheet or the profit and loss account of the
yeah,
organizations. It's the actual whole performance of the individuals within the organization.
absolutely. I mean, the coronavirus, if nothing else, has taught us that people matter more than machines, at least for the moment. So lots of companies are invested in lots of tech, and there's robots everywhere. Amazon is using drones and using lots of robotics in their warehouses. They are still hiring 100,000 people.
Okay,
in
okay,
this
yes.
time.
You can't do that, people, yes. Yeah.
Yes. So the performance of the people, which is directly linked to their engagement, their empowerment, and to the trust within the organization, is what pushes, it just helps the company achieve better results, more success.
But most companies tend to acknowledge the performance at the end of the year in terms of
Mm,
their achievement.
yes.
But in terms of engaging and empowering the staff
Mm.
to achieve, sometimes that's a very difficult thing to do, because all you're trying to do then is get the staff to do the jobs that you're paying them for. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that to a certain extent. In larger companies, they're doing a good job, some of them, of course,
Mhm.
because they have the budget to invest in whole departments that really are looking after their people. So they have the leadership and development departments, or the diversity and inclusion departments, or, HR is very embedded and has, their fingers in all these various other functions that are built to support the people, because they realize how important it is. I think sometimes that can be failing in a larger organization if the value system driven from top down is a bit skewed. And so that's where things may need to be addressed in general. In smaller organizations, it's more difficult because there's less of a budget for these kinds of initiatives to take place. And that's when they have people like me come in, because I become a budget item rather than a constant operating cost that has to sit on their accounts. And so it's okay, great, we've invested this amount, we're going to get XYZ training, KPIs are going to be this, and the measurable results at the end of this period should be ABC. So we'll pay for that and hope that, yes, we can just do that going on, like maybe an ongoing basis, or a one-off, that training once every so often. So it depends really. I think organizations are realizing more and more how important their people are, and small organizations are, and when I say small organizations, I actually should say entrepreneurs and small business owners and
Okay.
solopreneurs. I think if they're not already considering their people's strategy, whether they are a one-man band or just 5 people or whatever it is. They really should be, because there's a lot of optimization to be gained by bringing in a person to do something that you are less good at, to free you up to focus on the thing that you are exceptional at. And that's how you build, and that's how you grow, and grow more efficiently, quicker. So,
well, one of the things I mean, from the minute we were talking about, I had this conversation with you about doing something on optimization, and in my head, these 3 words jumped out at me, and they're model, model, measure, and monitor.
Model, measure, and monitor. Yes, I like
model,
that.
Model, measure, and monitor. So I am thinking that for anything you're doing, because coming from accountancy type environment, you're always monitoring and measuring stuff,
Yes.
But in terms of that global efficiency, corporate efficiency, small business efficiency, would you say that's the same thing that's required to model? And what do you actually model?
Well, I mean, I was on I was at a conference the other week, a virtual conference. People don't go crazy. I wasn't outside. And I was talking about how we all have a business module, whether you are a large, huge Amazon or you are a little Uzo, right? One person, or a Mary or a John, you have a business module, whether you are an employee within an organization or you are a business owner, you have a business model. The terminology is the only thing that changes. If you're an employee, you have a career path, a development plan. It's all a plan. Do you know what I mean? So we all should be, especially in COVID times, we should all be revisiting our module. What is this module? What does it look like? So for a large organization, they'll be assessing all sorts from the modules they're using for financing and how, the modeling they're doing for their finances and how that's been impacted and how that should change. They'll be looking at the technology that they're employing and what needs to come forward, possibly in terms of projects they have planned for the future, because those things are more necessary now. As an individual, I'm a band of 2 in my business. So we are, my team and I, my team, my assistant and I, we are constantly talking about, okay, so how do we pivot? What is the important thing to our customer right now? We have this huge repertoire. What do we focus on? When we're talking about optimization as a whole, what am I saying? I'm saying to people, revisit exactly what you've been doing and change it, adapt it to meet the need of your customer today, rather than what you were doing 2 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, because those things are evolving, right? So we all have these modules that we build, whether we realize them or not. How I guess how concrete they are is dependent on how adept we are at planning them out. Some people have a module in their head. Oh, I'm going to target this particular woman as a customer, and I want her to just give me some business, and I've got some business. And they'll be really, built out 10-page, 100-page modules with spreadsheets and Excel sheets about what the various factors impacting business growth are, and how they are being impacted or how they're being affected, and how they should be rejigged.
Well, one of the things you said just a while ago, you said organizations need to revisit the needs of the customer today as opposed to what they were doing 2 to 4 weeks ago. Yeah. So when you compare the two, you're thinking, my God, how do you then revisit the needs of your customer now? Because it's almost like everything's dead.
I disagree. I really do disagree. I think that our customers, they need us now more than ever. And it might not be, it sounds like, some people say, should you be trying to get money from people? I'm not saying get money from people. I'm saying you're doing your job. And if your job, whatever your job is, let's put it this way, whatever your job is, you are serving someone, right? And usually status quo is you serve them with, this commodity or this product, and they were happy to buy it. Today, you are trying to, or what you should be trying to do, is get into the psyche of your customer. And you do that by having a conversation. And you say, how do you meet their needs? You ask them what their needs are. Say, you know what, 4 weeks ago, I was sending emails to my list about, staying calm, how to manage their anxiety, not to be in a fear mindset, but to try, here are some techniques to move yourself into a power mindset so that you're not paralyzed. And I got so many emails back going, thank you for that email. It was so kind. It gave me hope. It minimized my anxiety. We don't know what's going to happen, but, you coming out to us to say you don't know what's going to happen, but it's going to be fine, what's helpful. We don't know what's going to happen, but history has shown us, we have the data from the last pandemic in 1918. We have seen various, difficult situations and challenges with other diseases, with the AIDS epidemic. I was too young to remember that, but someone brought that up on the news the other day, and I thought, yeah, that must have been crazy because people didn't know what was going on. It's all about the lack of understanding, and it just takes time for us to build up enough data to understand things a bit better, for us to have our anxieties and our fears minimized. So I think every business owner right now should be speaking to their customers and asking them, where are you at? What do you want? What do you need? Who can I be for you? I sent out a survey a couple of weeks ago and said, it was 3 weeks ago, and I said, would it be helpful if I had like a Q&A every Monday? Just send me stuff and I'll just, yes. Okay, great. So now I have a Q&A on Mondays.
Wow. Let me pull you on that point that you said when you sent out a newsletter to your list, and you talked about having a power mindset that they don't get paralyzed. What was it that you consider to be included, or what helps you to develop a power mindset?
It's the questions you ask yourself. It's shifting away from the we're all going to die, which is what everyone has heard of flight or fright or freeze, right? So you're fight mode, you perceive danger and you either go into fight mode, you either flight, run away, get away from the danger, or you freeze. You don't really know what to do. So you're stuck in a deer in headlights, right? So that's every human being on the planet has that response. It's built into our brain. Millennia of programming, right? What you can do is train yourself to identify your triggers that move you into those states, and then shift yourself out of those states by practicing things. So people are going, oh gosh, I'm going to lose my job. What am I going to do when I lose my job? What am I going to do? I'm going to lose my job. Everything's going to go. I'm not going to be able to pay my mortgage. Okay, so if you interrupt that thought pattern and it becomes, what could I do if I lost my job? What options are available to me? What am I willing to do? Because, I don't know if you saw in the news, there was a whole plane load of Romanian strawberry pickers flown in.
Yes.
I'm picking strawberries in the UK. I'm thinking, I'm sure there's somebody that would like that job right now. Hello, people.
I was amazed at that.
Yeah, but then that's a mindset thing, isn't it? Would I pick strawberries? Well, if you're pushed far enough, a job is good.
You're gonna do.
Yeah, do you see what I mean? And so if we spend our time really addressing things from the powerful mindset, is what can I do? There's so much uncertainty. What do I have control over? Focus on that. I'll speak with my clients sometimes and they'll go, oh, my boss did this and the department did that and the senior leadership team did this. And I go, this is great. All wonderful information for me to have. What did you do? What do you mean? There's nothing I can do. No. In all this mess, something is in your control. What is that thing? And they go, well, I could actually go and ask my manager for this information. And then I could use that information and feed my team, keep them motivated, to continue to deliver work, help them as far as possible understand their targets. That will also, I could concede that I have no control over the things I have no control over, so I'll stop stressing about them. I go, yes, there's lots you can do.
That's true.
So those are the different mindsets. It's their fault. I have no control. They can do something, or do you know what? What can I do?
So let me recap you there. You talked about, so the key to optimization, and as far as you're seeing it, is that one, to engage your staff. Is so important.
Yeah.
And after engaging your staff, there's the assessing the needs of your client, the needs of your customers.
Yeah.
As they are today compared to 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I really
constantly iterate that.
And constantly upgrade them. Okay.
Yeah.
And I like what you were talking about with developing the power mindset and identifying the triggers that move you from one state to another. Mm-hmm. So you somehow don't feel helpless. You see the opportunity.
And there's so many opportunities. I was doing some research last week for that conference I was speaking at, and I was amazed to see how many businesses were founded in recessions.
Tough times, yeah.
Crazy. Microsoft in 1975, when there was a whole stock market issue, that's when they started. You've had Netflix in the last financial recession, 2008 or 2007, I think it was. They were founded. You've had, where's the list? I had a list. I can't even remember where the list is. I mean, the list goes on. There's so many. Here it is. Hang on. Here it is. No, I can't find it. But Netflix, Microsoft, Airbnb, Uber.
Okay, yeah.
Companies that came out of almost like, rose out of the ashes like a phoenix. So I'm not saying that the last recession brought them about. I'm saying that they occurred in spite of the circumstances in which they were born.
Ideas are still being born all the time. So people don't. Sorry?
And it's the courage to actually push forward with those ideas that makes the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, that's amazing. So let's just take a quick break here. So I'll go back to our sponsor. And then while we're doing that, I'm going to come back and ask you one big question about who is your ideal client? Who's the ideal client that you like working with? Okay? So we'll just go to the sponsor first.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
So what's the ideal client for you?
Okay, this is, let's see. Okay, ideal client. I work with organizations of all sizes, and I work with individuals. So I tend to take the person or the entity that I'm working with out of the equation. It doesn't matter to me. What I look for is a client where it is very evident that they want to see change. So as someone that's a leadership and management consultant at larger firms, or a business coach or coach to individuals, I can't carry you on my back. I make recommendations, and it's up to you to do the work or not, right? Okay. So for me, that willingness, that buy-in is extremely important.
So that's where my monitor bit comes in, the whole monitoring.
There you go. Exactly. Because I come from the coaching training that people are resourceful and people are whole. So I'm not coming to fix your brokenness. I'm coming to help you elevate from one level to another. It's a different perspective. There's nothing wrong with my clients. They just aren't achieving the things they want to.
Still got a problem that needs solving, yeah?
That's the point. It's the problem that needs solving. So, if you're working with people that go, well, I can't do it. It's a very different mindset to, I can do it, I just don't know how.
Okay.
Do you see? What's an ideal client? Ideal client is also an individual or entity that is ready. I've had lots of conversations with organizations and they go, oh, we want to do this, we want to do this. But the value system going top to bottom is not bought in, it's not engaged in this thing they want. And
decision makers, okay.
Decision makers need to buy in. So there has to be that willingness, that readiness, So you want to change, but then you're ready to do it, coming together. Now, if we break it down, of course, I want successful people who want to be more successful. I want people who are on this journey of change. They see that there's more for them, and they are looking for how to tap into their greatness. It's not about me. I hold up a mirror to people, and I say,
now you're being motivational. Tap into their greatness. Greatness.
It is there. That's you, isn't it? I master your message, baby. No, but it is. So, organization-wise sizes, I work with large and I work with solopreneurs. Doesn't matter. But it's really about, they want to see a change. There's something that they have a challenge that they want to change, to fix, to address, and they're ready to actually start the work.
Okay. So far we spent the last, my God, the times has disappeared. Hey, we were saying that we didn't have enough time, but hey, we've talked a lot about the corporate organizations, structured organizations who've helping them to gain efficiencies, model, measure, and monitor. Mm-hmm. But the one thing we need to bring this home before we close about is how do I optimize my life as an individual, especially in such uncertain time? How do I optimize my life? How do I gain? Sorry?
Reflection. People hear that word and they think, what's that about? And it's such a powerful tool because it's agonizingly difficult to do. Self-reflection is one of the most difficult things to do. It requires you to be starkly, brutally honest with yourself. And, I'm also, in my repertoire of things that I do, I'm also a professional development expert at a business school. And, so I work with clients in corporates as well through that. And they have this curriculum they have to go through. And at the very start of the curriculum, which is, regulated by Ofsted and accredited by the Chartered Management Institute, they have to go through these 3 modules that are all around self-reflection. And always I go, gosh, Uzo, that was so hard. I go, yes, we put the hard bits right at the top because we want to get you into the mindset where you understand that you have to bring yourself into this learning. So it's very easy to get the 5 steps. How many of us have joined? I'll put my hand up. How many of us have joined, lots of coaches online and programs and bought things, easy fix, 5 ways to start to make more money, 5 ways to fix your life.
Okay. Looking for the quick fix. Yeah, looking for the quick fix.
Absolutely. And you start off, and if it's a good training program, it will tell you have to start to think about what you are doing now that is holding you back. And how many of us start that process and go, nope, can't do it. I'm gonna wait for the next 5 things and see if I can buy into that program, and maybe they'll tell me what to do. I'm not saying that these things are not helpful. I offer them myself, but I always start with mindset. I always start with your thinking. I always start with you becoming aware of who you are, but also as conceding that is who you are. Because from there you can springboard. So optimizing your life, what do you want?
Okay, let me give you a scenario. So I'm an individual. I've been furloughed at home. I've not gone to work for the past 4 weeks. I'm sitting at home. I'm hearing all the news that, big companies are shedding staff, that they're starting to shed staff already, and they're cutting back. I'm hearing that the economy is going to dip. I'm hearing all these negative things. I'm sitting at home on my own. I'm thinking, where's the future for me? How do someone like me, an individual, start thinking about optimizing my...
So with me, I get my trusty notebook and I put that down and I think, okay, what am I afraid of? And I make a list of everything.
Not having money.
Yes, I write that down. I don't have any money. I won't be able to pay my mortgage. My children, I've got children. How am I going to feed my kids? And I'll write all of that down. Then, practicing a power mindset, I look at my fears and go, okay, which one of these is true and unchangeable? Right? So you're furloughed. As far as I understand it, furloughed people are collecting income. They get something.
Yes, they're still
so they're better than those people. They're better than people in the self-employed category who ain't got nothing from nobody. Okay, so those guys are in panic mode if they haven't been storing up for the winter, if they haven't been saving. Then it becomes a real practical, how am I going to keep the lights on? How am I going to feed my children? That's when it comes, what can I do? What am I willing to do? Am I willing to go and pick strawberries somewhere because it will pay a check? But I'm a big fancy fill in the gap. Well, it's no money or some money. You then have a choice, don't you?
True.
Right? So then you make a choice. And you go through all your fears, having looked at them and assessed whether they're true and unchangeable or true and fixed, or they can be changed. How can you then change them? What could I do? Who could I ask for help? Where could I go for information? How do I educate myself? What would empower me to make a different choice? Who do I need for support? Where do I go for help? Then you start problem solving, don't you? And then it's about decision making and choice. But there's a way. There is a way. I'm not saying it's easy. It's not easy, but most things in life aren't. Most things in life are hard. But I think there's a belief in all of us that there's we can't change most of the things in our life. It's not true. It's not true. And I say this not being someone that, everything is great in my life and I'm optimizing. Of course not. I'm a human being. I'm on a journey.
The struggle continues. The struggle continues. It's been great talking to you, and
thank you.
You can talk for another 2 hours if we had the time.
Help me.
Yeah.
God help me.
But what I want us to close out on today is is there a word that you've got to give the community? Is there a statement that you'd like to make that will impact their lives? What would you say?
I just want everyone to maintain their hope, to stay hopeful, to stay optimistic. Things look bad. But honestly, I promise you, they're not dire. If you have your health right now, if you have a roof over your head, you are winning, right? This too shall pass. And I want you to take that hope and actually translate it into something tangible. So don't just sit at home. If you're furloughed and you've got that income coming in, but you've got no work to do, this is the perfect time to think of a side gig. What could you do? All those things that all your friends tell you, you're so great at. I wish you could teach me how to do this. Could you turn that into a side gig? Even if you didn't want to get paid for it, could you do it to help someone? Maybe you're just that person that encourages others. Get online, get in a Zoom with a group of your friends and talk to them about, what's happening and give them that encouragement. This is the time to tap into, you have the space, I would say, to tap into those creative aspects of yourself that are about service, and you can get paid for that as well.
I think I'm zoomed out already.
Really?
Amount of Zooms.
I've only been using Zoom for work. I haven't done any Zoom parties, and it's my daughter's birthday in a few days, and I'm going to see if all the cousins can come into one of those Zoom parties so we can have a turn up. So I'm looking forward to using Zoom for that.
And in the midst of all this, we must acknowledge, those people out there who've lost loved ones, who've lost loved ones, who are sick at the moment.
Yes.
Who are feeling helpless. We must acknowledge that,
Absolutely.
and extend our warmth and care towards
and our love and our prayers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Our gratitude to all the people that are out there. My sister-in-law and her husband are both key workers. And, I just think, gosh, they've got 3 kids at home and they go to work every single day. And, it's like, I thank you. I thank you all.
Yeah. We must acknowledge that. But in the midst of this, one of the key words you said, maintain your hope. Hope. Maintain. Sorry?
It's going to get better.
It's going to get better. Okay. So, Uzo, it's been great talking to you again. And time's upon us now. And let me just notify people of where they can find you. Where can people find Uzo?
Good. You can go to my website, www.augmentresults.com. Jump into the blog there. There's lots of fab videos to watch and articles to read. I also have like a free download that you can get now to help you to start to actually close more business, even in these times. I'll send Alex the link and then he can post it with the video, and you can go down there and download that free resource for yourself and connect with me. Send me emails, and if you have any questions that I can help with, I would love to hear from you. If you are available on Mondays at 1 p.m., I'm on live at Instagram, augment_results. So just connect with me.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, just say thank you to Uzo for being such a great guest today.
Wow. And the crowd goes wild.
And it's time to augment your results. It's time to augment your results for your life, for your business, and maintain the hope. The things you can control, and you can do those things. And so just find Uzo. If you want some answers, just find Uzo. If you want to be able to self-assess yourself, just find Uzo at www.augmentresults.com. It was great talking to you today. It was great. Don't run. Before we
Thanks
go,
for having me, Alex.
Yeah, before we go, there's one thing I'd like to say today, and it's in the art of maintaining hope, in the art of just dreaming again, just pulling the dreams out. I'm pushing out today again my book, just offering this book free of cost to everyone out there. That it's time for you to dream. My favorite topic, what is your dream? Oh man, I've been doing this for years. What is your dream? But
it's brilliant.
It's so important just to revitalize that, to go back there and find what is your dream. And you can get a copy of this. And let me just give you the address. Go to bit.ly/the Dream Builders Academy and get a copy of this book today. What is your dream? And just sit down and read it and just go through some reflection yourself. Because in these times, we have to realize that we're not finished.
We're not finished, no.
We're not finished. There's so much for us to do. So Uzo, great having you today. I'm going to close out on the sponsor's message. Don't disappear. Thank you for tuning into the show today.
You are listening to the Message Talk Show and Podcast. Do you believe you have something to share? Do you believe you have something to contribute? Do you have a story to tell the world, to share with your community? Gandhi said, man often becomes what he believes himself to be. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, you can't. So join us on the Message Talk Show and Podcast with host Alex Gordon.
So as I said, do you believe you have something to share? If you believe you have something to share, go to www.masteryourmessage.co.uk. Join me on the Message Talk Show. And guys, it's a tremendous opportunity to be interviewing such fascinating people, such great people across the world.
And I'm just saying to you, goodbye until next week. We will talk again.